A man is facing charges after getting into a fight with a Georgia deputy. You can see him resisting arrest and getting physical with the officer here. He eventually pushes him down and jumps back in the car, drives away while the deputy hangs on to the window. According to police, after the suspect drives away here, a passerby followed him until the deputy was able to catch up. There he's being dragged, a high-speed chase, and several damaged patrol cars later, deputies were able to force the suspect off the road and get him under arrest. Police in Seattle had an easy go of it last week when they caught 3 suspects in a shoplifting case.
The officers caught the moment on camera. Police were called about a suspected shoplifter in a Costco store. They stopped a driver parked near an exit door behind the store, and then they waited for the door to open and nabbed a man and woman walking out with computers and vacuum cleaners. Look at that. Those two and the suspected getaway driver, also suspected of shoplifting at another Costco store earlier in the day. Most banks have forced the use of those credit card chips, but are they really doing the job when it comes to preventing scams? Yeah, you would hope so. Credit card chips are now a global security measure meant to help combat fraud and identity theft. Well, according to Visa, merchants that use chip technology say they've seen a 70% decrease in credit card fraud. However, credit card scams are still an issue. The best way to fend off identity theft is to regularly monitor your credit report. Local 4 News at 6 is next.
Here's Devin with what's coming up.
Been a busy Monday. Coming up, we'll work on stories from Southgate, Macomb Township, and Plymouth. Also new at 6, a rollover on the highway, and the driver gets ticketed. Michigan State Police explain why. Also, a mother charged with child abuse for what she did with her baby while she went shopping. Next at 6.
It's comments live from downtown Detroit. Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Ready, shop, go. Ford cutting out the middleman to roll out a new car buying experience.
A criminal enterprise uncovered in Metro Detroit, and police say this elaborate phone scam stretched all the way to the East Coast.
All right, Priya, the whole terrifying chain of events were caught on camera. An infant left in a car in freezing temperatures while the mother was inside shopping at Sam's Club. Flash forward to today. That child's mother, Jamie Stefanko, appeared in court to be formally charged with child abuse.
We bring in our Larry Spruill, who was at the arraignment today. We've got a number of charges here, Larry.
Yeah, Devin, we're talking about 2 charges of child abuse. Now, a judge did allow her out on bond still, and we tried to talk to her after court today, and let's just say that she was not happy to see us. Jamie Stefanko faced a judge for the first time since she was arrested for leaving her infant inside her car. Local 4 was in the courtroom as a judge listed her charges.
Count 1 charges that you did knowingly or intentionally commit the act or acts that, under the circumstances, pose an unreasonable risk of harm or physical injury to a child by leaving a child unattended in a vehicle.
That's a misdemeanor with 1 year in jail and or 5 years probation. Stefanko was also facing another charge of child abuse.
A child under the age of 6 years old, unattended in a vehicle for approximately 55 minutes, a period of time that caused an unreasonable risk of harm.
That's also a misdemeanor with 93 days in jail or a $500 fine. Police say Stefanko left her 2-year-old in her car during freezing temps at this Sam's Club. Police found the baby inside.
Are you serious?
That's your baby.
Minutes later, you can see Stefanko walking up to the car. She told police at the scene it was all a mistake and she did not want to wake the baby. Anything to say, ma'am? Monday, I tried to ask her some questions after court. Anything? Are you glad? Anything, ma'am. But she avoided all of my questions. And the judge did continue to let her stay on bond for $500, a $500 bond, but there are some stipulations. She is not allowed to drink, do drugs, or possess a handgun. She's due back in court March 23rd. We're live in Southgate tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
Now, Larry, we understand she has 2 children, so does she still have custody of them?
Well, Devin, she told the judge that Child Protective Services did investigate this case, and they are allowing her to keep her 2 kids. We're talking about a 16-year-old and that 2-year-old involved in this case.
All right, Larry.
Police in Austin, Texas have confirmed a serial bomber is on the loose after a 4th explosion overnight. Last night's blast left 2 young men with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. This is the 4th bomb in 3 weeks. The FBI says last night's bomb shows a new level of sophistication. Instead of a package left at a front porch, this bomb was left along the side of the road and was triggered by a tripwire.
It's more sophisticated. It's not targeted to individuals. We're very concerned that with tripwires, a child could be walking down a sidewalk and hit something.
And stick with Local 4. Coverage of the bombings continues next at 6:30 on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Macomb County prosecutors say these are the faces of two con artists who targeted seniors with a pretty elaborate scam. They're accused of conning several victims out of thousands of dollars. Priya Mann following the story for us. And Priya, these arrests stem from an investigation that's actually from New York, right?
Yeah, that's right, Devin. Detectives in New York contacted the Macomb County Sheriff's Department when their investigation led them to believe there was a connection here in Metro Detroit. And when deputies descended on the pair's home in Troy, they found electronics, a lot of U.S. cash, vehicles, and high-end merchandise that police say they plan to sell overseas.
27-year-old Quinn Ju Wei and 23-year-old X-Fing Ju are accused of bilking seniors out of thousands in a criminal enterprise uncovered in Troy.
What they're doing is calling, posing as someone who they're not, maybe an attorney or someone from a jail.
Macomb County sheriffs say the pair told victims their loved one was in an accident or needed bond money to get out of jail. Victims were instructed to buy gift cards from Target and give the pair the gift card and PIN numbers. Police say the two would then buy eBay and Steam gift cards with the information and buy high-end goods to sell to customers overseas.
The people that are using technology to commit these crimes, we have the same technology available to us, so we are looking to charge those people.
Police are reminding people to never give out personal information over the phone, like your credit card or social security number. And if someone is asking you to make a payment with a gift card, that is a major red flag. The victims range in age from 66 to 80 years old, all of them just trying to help their loved ones, but ended up duped out of thousands.
I think it's terrible to take advantage of anyone, really. I mean, we all work hard for our money and we want to keep it, and there's that component of the elderly want to help their loved ones. They're quick to give and kind and caring, and they're just taken advantage of that way.
And police believe there could be more victims out there. Now, some seniors lost about $2,000, others upwards of $14,000. And police say within a 3-week span, this pair hit one target and spending $10,000 on high-end merchandise that police say the pair then plan to sell overseas. And again, police believe there could be more victims out there. They're asking anyone who thinks they might have been a victim of this phone scam to give them a call. Reporting live, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
So Priya, this would be a couple of felony charges here, right?
Yeah, that's right. They're facing a number of charges. 1 count of conducting a criminal enterprise, which is a 20-year felony, and 2 counts of making false pretenses of $1,000 or more, but less than $20,000. That is a 5-year felony. But if more people come forward, they could be facing more charges.
Yeah. All right, Priya. Well, with the nation still in the grips of the opioid epidemic today, President Trump outlined his plan to combat the crisis.
He promised a get-tough approach to battle opioids on multiple fronts. Our Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with a closer look at this much-needed plan.
Definitely, Devin and Kimberly. This epidemic is killing 115 Americans every day of all ages, races, and religions. The White House, it's calling this the crisis next door, and there is no question it's a problem that is hitting home all across the nation.
President Trump unveiled his plan to fight the national opioid epidemic at an event in New Hampshire, a small state with one of the nation's highest rates of lethal overdoses.
I want to win this battle. I don't want to leave at the end of 7 years and have this problem. Okay? I don't want to, right?
His proposal includes the death penalty for high-volume traffickers, a law already on the books but never exercised.
If you break the law and illegally peddle these deadly poisons, we will find you, we will arrest you, and we will hold you accountable.
The idea drew criticism from some on the front lines of the opioid crisis.
Addiction is a disease, that treating it like a moral defect or a choice is ineffective and unscientific and frankly inhumane.
The plan would also work to cut the number of opioid prescriptions that are filled by a third within 3 years, and increase treatment options for those who are addicted. Opioid-related deaths have been rising sharply in recent years, killing more than 42,000 in 2016. President Trump will ask Congress for $6 billion for the initiative.
Imagine how many more hundreds and thousands of lives we can save if only we had the commitment to funding that we need.
The plan would also broaden residential treatment for Medicaid patients and increase access to naloxone to reverse overdoses.
Now, President Trump isn't just going after criminals. He is threatening major litigation against drug companies who have played a role in the opioid crisis. Now, the president also unveiled a website where families can share their stories of drug addiction at crisisnextdoor.com.
We have done so much reporting on this, though, and what we've obviously all learned is the tentacles of this thing run in so many different directions. Right. It's the behavior of pharmaceutical companies in some instances. It's doctors.
That's exactly it, and that's why shutting it down is going to be so hard.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Doc.
NBC Nightly News coming up immediately after this broadcast. Let's see what Lester and the team are working on.
Lester joins us live from New York with a preview. Hi, Lester.
Hey, Kim and Devin, we got a lot on our plate tonight. We're going to be talking about Facebook under fire on news. The profiles of millions of people were used without their permission by a company that worked on the 2016 Trump campaign. Also looking for answers after a self-driving Uber car is involved in a fatal accident. Those stories and a lot more, and we see you coming up here. But for now, we'll send it back to you in Detroit.
What kind of setback that is for the autonomous vehicle movement. All right, Lester, we'll see you in a few minutes. It's been a big day for Ford. First word is it's looking to buy Detroit's storied old train station.
And then it rolled out a very high-tech new way to buy your car. Local 4 business editor Rod Maloney has a look at how it will work.
It's no secret that for years, car buyers have been researching cars on their phones, their tablets, their PCs. But it's only been at a kind of a rudimentary level, all meant to steer you into the showroom. People are getting tired of that, and Ford knows it, and it's about to change.
It's called Ready, Shop, Go, and it largely opens up the dealership to you at midnight or 4 in the morning whenever you're in the mood to do some serious car shopping. Chris Thornton is Ford's Retail Network Experience Manager.
Customers are demanding more and more from online solutions these days because they're looking for time savings and convenience.
Let's face it, we're all busy, but particularly the younger buyer is no longer willing to spend days trying to buy a vehicle. So they want information right down to the VIN number so they can find out prices and perhaps, if worked right, they don't have to haggle.
You can see the incentives that are available on it. If you have a trade-in that you want to provide, you can get a value for that. You can look at your finance options or your lease options.
This, of course, changes the dealer-shopper relationship, so Ford was careful to bring its dealers in on this project when they started it 2 years ago. And while you can lock in a price with eligible vehicles for 48 hours, giving you time to actually get to a showroom, you can also file a credit application in advance. Thornton says this will get down to a pretty close-up and personalized shopping experience.
They see all the public incentives that are available, and then once they put in their personal information, they'll find out the private offers, which may be just applicable to them.
Now, if this sounds appealing to you, you want to buy your car, truck, or SUV this way, we here in Metro Detroit are fortunate because it will start at the end of this month. Back to you.
So it's supposed to go nationwide exactly when, Rod?
Well, it gets rolled out on a regional basis. They figure they'll have everybody on board by the end of the year.
We'll be all buying cars in our PJs at 4 in the morning. Right. Okay, Rod, thank you.
All right, still ahead tonight, dodging potholes anywhere has become a real challenge on a dirt road. Different level of frustration, and people living in this neighborhood say it has been a problem for years.
Well, that taste of spring from the weekend is behind us now, but the local forecasters are tracking sunshine that should stick around for most of the week.
But first, looks like a movie stunt. This was very real. We'll have a look at what caused this rollover on a local freeway when we come back.
You rode it.
A speeding car on M14 in Plymouth rolls over while trying to avoid being pulled over.
Michigan State Trooper caught the whole thing on dash cam. It was posted by MSP on Twitter earlier today. You see a car just ahead of the semi trying to swerve over to the nearest exit, and on the very right side of the screen completely rolls over. MSP says the conversation would have been easier. Thankfully, no one was hurt. This 19-year-old from Detroit charged with attempted shoplifting. Police say he also had a weapon at the time. They say Demetrius Herndon tried to steal more than $400 worth of merchandise from the Macy's at the Somerset collection. When he was in the patrol car, they found he was holding a knife, so he now faces 3 charges, including a concealed weapon violation.
All right, well, by now you've dodged plenty of potholes on area roads and freeways, but avoiding these craters on a dirt road can be tricky.
Yeah, today road crews graded a stretch of 5 Point Street between Puritan and Florence. Neighbors tell our Larry Spruill something should have been done a long time ago.
Well, guys, it's a very interesting situation out here. Right here where I'm standing is the city of Detroit, but just across the street over there is Redford Township. Now, what separates the two is this street. Neighbors really call it a dirt road because that's what it is. They say this dirt road is filled with potholes and rough driving conditions, and now they are begging for help.
Bad, very bad. Like, I've messed up my car numerous times, hitting a lot of potholes coming this way.
It's a path Kyra Franklin has to take every day, whether she's leaving or coming back home. Either way, she can't avoid this stretch of 5 Point Street between Puritan and Florence. Franklin says she's tired of the potholes in her own neighborhood, and she's not alone.
Boulders constantly in the street. It's hard to drive on, it's hard to walk in.
Nikisha Folds knows firsthand about this dirt road. That's because her home sits right on it.
The road is horrible. It's a dirt road.
Linda Goldner lives next door. She tells me for years they have complained about the rough driving conditions in their neighborhood.
When we complained as to why they left a country dirt road in the middle of, like I said, blacktop and cement, we were told that that was Detroit's problem. And then Detroit says it's Redford's problem.
Monday, our cameras were rolling as crews rolled up and down, smoothing out the road. Neighbors say they're glad to see the change, but they say it's just temporary.
If it rained in an hour, those potholes would all be right back where they were.
And they want something that will last.
I would like the road to be a regular paved road. That's what I would like.
Reporting on the border of Detroit and Redford Township, Larry Spruill, Local 4.
All right, Larry. Paul is in for Ben tonight. One of us has been keeping very, very close tabs on when spring begins.
Would that be me?
I don't know who it was.
I've been keeping count.
Been a little clock on it.
Yeah,
just a few hours
just
now.
Just a few hours.
But you're already looking ahead to what we can expect for the whole season.
A lot of people are asking because we've gotten off to such a cool start.
Yeah.
So let's look at the next 90 days. And this is NOAA's 90-day outlook. Look, this is April through June, and there is a pretty good chance that we're going to be above average for those next 3 months. So yeah, we've gotten off to a cooler start, but I think we're going to make up for some lost ground. But if you're wondering about precipitation, well, looks like we're going to be wetter than average too. Now that partially good news because the farmers need some of that soil moisture to get things going. But basically it looks like it's going to be warmer but wetter for the next 90 days. And as far as a longer term trend, check this out. This is spring temperatures since 1970. Look at the trend, a very decided trend all the way to the present. Springs have actually gotten 3.3 degrees warmer since 1970. These ups and downs, these are the individual springs here. So yeah, there's year-to-year variation, but the trend is toward warmer springs. It sometimes just takes a little longer to get here than we'd like. But today, a day of differences across the area. If you were inland far from the lakes, you were in the 40s today. But look at this, Lapeer, you're at 31, getting that Lake Huron impact. And Monroe, you had the Lake Erie impact there. You're only at 36 degrees. And the wind chill is, of course, colder with that brisk east wind. Look at this great storm pin shot. Oh, this is just a spectacular shot. This came from Ray Township, which is south of Armada, in case you don't know where that is, in Macomb County. Beautiful stratocumulus deck here, broken clouds here. I saw some of this morning myself, but I didn't have it as spectacular as this. What a great shot. Thanks for sending that in on storm pins. And as far as our weather goes, we're high and dry and we're quiet. This big storm here is pretty dynamic. A lot of severe weather will be happening this evening to the south. And this thing, as you'll see in a moment, could give New England its 4th nor'easter in the past 3 weeks. How about that? So here we are. Yeah, I tell you, this is just going to be something. Now here we have an initial low passing to our south, well to our south, so we're not going to get any impact from it, but it's going to kind of dive down and then kind of reorganize on the east coast. And then look what happens as the cold air wraps into it. Snow develops. This is pretty good snow. We're talking 6 to 10 inches of snow in some spots. And depending upon how close this gets to the coast here, the corridor from New York to Boston could end up with a lot of snow as well. And this is, again, for mostly the day on Wednesday, and then the whole thing starts to pull out for Wednesday night into Thursday. Yeah, they need that, don't they? Another nor'easter after 3 of them in 3 weeks. All right, 23 overnight low tonight. Things will kind of even out temperature-wise, becoming breezy later on tonight as well. And then tomorrow, we're going to see, again, inland away from the lakes, about 40 degrees. But in the thumb, you're going to stay in the 30s. And again, we'll have plenty of sunshine, but some clouds filtering in. And it's still going to be breezy, northeast wind at 15 to 20 miles per hour. Now, we're going to be dry through the week. Spring starts officially at 12:15 tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be dry through the week. We have a second storm we're actually watching for Saturday, similar to the one that's passing to our south now. And that one's probably going to barely miss us as well, because if it comes a little further north, we'd get snow from that. But right now, it looks like we're going to be dry all the way through the week, but just temperatures hanging a little bit cooler than I think some of us would like.
4 and 3 weeks. We're fine with whatever.
We're doing just fine. We're living large.
All right, Paul. Bernie's coming up with sports. Stay with us.